Hi, this is Ed from Wright, and today we're introducing a new product. This is the WrightVac for the standard ZK. Sorry, today it's kind of windy. It's February and it's like 70 degrees outside and it's really windy, which is just really unusual weather for us, but it's great to see spring coming early. So I'm going to walk through what this is, what makes it unique compared to some other products in the market, and then we're going to take it for a spin and show you the functionality. So first off, the blower assembly back here, the bagging assembly, the blower, the WrightVac blower, and the front weights are actually the exact same components that are in the kit for the ZXT rider and the ZXL rider. Now, part of the reason why we're bringing out this now instead of in the past, because we've heard a lot of requests for something like this, has been that this is our next generation blower system. We previously we're buying a blowing system from somebody else, but we decided to take control of the design and make it just exactly the way we wanted to. If you're familiar with our ZXT and the bagger and that application, this bagging system, now that we're running these much bigger engines nowadays, we really want a blower that can handle all that grass. So many blowers out there take less grass in than the deck can deliver to it. And here, unless it's pouring rain and you're overloading it, in most conditions you can run this thing really hard without plugging it up. We just have a much bigger pulley on the blower, removing more air, and the style of blower that spins this way preserves the momentum of the grass as it's coming out of the deck. And so we get a lot more of it into the back assembly. So it has the same piece up there, the same weight kit that has for the ZXT. And if you want to get this system, you want to order the system, you get this main assembly, which prices are changing a lot right now because of the cost of steel. But this right now, it's around $3,200. And then you need a pulley kit. So the pulley kit for the riders has a deck cover that fits the rider, and then there's a pulley and a belt that matches the deck size. So there's 3 different pulley kits for the riders, and then for the ZK, there's 3 different pulley kits here as well that comes with a deck cover specifically for the ZK. And that sub kit is about $50. And then in order to put that kit on a ZK instead of a rider, you have to order this assembly back here. Now, this bracket doesn't require any drilling or anything like that. It bolts into existing holes on the frame, and it holds the rear bag frame here, which is kind of like a quick connect system from the bagger kit. And it also includes a couple more weights in order to balance the machine a little bit differently than the rider. So that kit's around $200 as well. Now, when we designed the system, what we wanted to do here, there's sort of two ends of the spectrum for bagging. There's bagging where you're primarily picking up grass, it's just really heavy. And then you have bagging which is more seasonal, and you're dealing with lighter stuff, leaves, that kind of stuff, more for cleanups. And if you're doing the latter kind, you want a much bigger housing back here because you're not concerned with the weight. You want to be able to get further with it, whereas if you're dealing with a lot of weight, then you want the compactness of a little bit smaller unit here. This system leans a little bit more towards being tuned in for collection. So in other words, this system's going to get pretty heavy if you put really dense grass all the way in it and overflow it. It holds about 12 bushels, and if it's heavy grass, you might want to stop just a little bit early, but it's really tuned in more for the cleanup type work. Now, the other thing is, right now, the bagging systems that you see out there for riders are smaller systems, and they're offset far to the right side of the machine. And here, we wanted full-size capability. The ZK is a stand-on with rider-type capability with big engines, 37 horsepower, that kind of thing. And so we wanted that capacity here. We wanted it to be centered over the wheels, so we get very good control of the machine. We didn't want all that weight over there on one side. So some of the things you'll notice is that although we have the blower over there, and this housing is shifted slightly in this way to line up with the tube over here, gives a little more clearance on this side. We have a little bit of weight over there, but we counterbalance it by putting some of our weight on the deck here. So that means when you're driving along, you go to slow down real quickly, instead of the machine kind of swerving because one side weighs a whole lot more, the machine's just going to handle very naturally by positioning the weight over the center. Now, when I climb in here, you'll see that there's plenty of room. I mean, it's not like you're walking around in here, but it's very easy to get on and off the machine in this space here. You could climb out this side, but generally that's not what it's intended for. The tube is over there, but you're not going to get trapped over on this side or anything like that. So it's easy to get in and out of, but not too long. Now, I'll also mention that one thing that I've experienced is that you just get so used to stand-on mowers where you can go in a corner and turn out and you don't have any tail on the machine. When you use this system as a bagger, you have to remember that it's like a rider, that you have something back here. You just got to be aware of that, because if you go in a corner, you'll hit the fence or something with the bagger assembly. So just be careful of that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take it for a spin. I'm going to fill it up. I'm going to show you how it handles on a slope empty and how it handles on a slope when it's full. And one other thing, one question we get is, are we going to come out with the dump from the seat or a not a bag type hopper assembly here? And I think that's definitely in the cards for someday. Don't wait for it because it's not in the works at the moment. The reason we offer the bag system is there's about a 2/3 preference for this style system because it's easier to get grass, load it up into a truck or something like that with this. But we understand if you're moving debris down to the street or you want to take it down to the edge of the property, dump it in the woods or something like that, it's nice to have a hopper system where you're not dealing with bags. But for now, we're running the bag system because it's more universal than the other types of systems. So let's go ahead and take it for a spin. So we're back in the shop now, and you saw that when we were running out there, initially I had the bags empty, and you could see I was backing up the hill and the machine was handling fine. And then I filled it up completely packed full of damp chaff, so I would say sort of medium heavy weight, not really heavy, but decently heavy load on the back of the machine. And you could see that going straight up the hill. It wasn't trying to do wheelies ridiculously. I mean, obviously, if you point it straight uphill and accelerate real hard, the front's going to get a little bit light. But you can see that either way, it was handling well. With the ZK kit, like I had said before, there's a couple more weights on here. We're going to walk through the machine now and fine detail if you're interested in learning more about the system. But before I do that, let me kind of close to say that availability-wise, right now we're at the end of February 2022, and we're going to see this kit in probably 60, 90 days become available. We're making a couple final tweaks to it. If you already have the ZXT bagging half of it, then all you need is the supplement kits, the pulley kit and the ZK adapter piece. Or you could go ahead and order that in, but you'd be waiting for the other pieces to come in. But it should become available here real soon. So going around the machine in more detail here, if that's what you're interested in. The ZK kit has these wider plates here. It brings a little bit more weight to the system. This hitch, you can buy this separately if all you want is a hitch receiver. It comes with a backing plate and through bolts as a separate piece. And there's holes in these plates that will let the receiver pass through there. So it's great if you want to put all kinds of accessories on the front of your machine. When it comes to the blower, let me take the deck cover off here. I have the deck all the way down, which is important to getting the cover off. And you can see here that we use a really big pulley. Most of these blower systems use a little tiny pulley, but we use a pulley that's as big as our center. It just is our center pulley. So we have full horsepower capability to the blower assembly. Now the blower assembly itself, we have these quick release latches, so no futzy little pieces. It makes it very easy to disconnect the tube. And then this pin down here keeps the blower pegged in here so it doesn't tilt up. And the blower, you lean it in, belt pops right off, and it comes off kind of like our gobbler. Now there is this plate here that bolts to the deck. You can leave it in while you're side discharging. It brings the diverter baffle a little bit further forwards, which helps the blower system. The more of the grass that's coming out of the front of this, the less it's going to want to clog up. So that helps there. Very easy to get this on and off. You can see inside here, again, we've got a big pulley, metal pulleys, large belt. This is a wide belt, not a small belt. And the blower itself has got a lot of impeller capability pushing a lot of grass through there. Let me just take the tube off here and show you how the back assembly comes apart. So if I just pull the weight on this forwards a little bit, I can pull the pins out. And then from there, I can lower the whole unit, and it slides out of those slots in the bottom. Now, this piece right here is the same quick adapt piece that mounts on the bumper of the ZXT. And you can install just this lower piece without this adapter in order to have the hitch capability, but altogether, that's what the bagger mounts up to. Now, where it bolts up to is some already pre-existing mounting holes here for the fuel tank brackets and the lift mount. We added a second lift mount here. But you can see it bolts into the machine pretty easily, pretty straightforwards. And with the ZK, especially with a 37 horsepower engine, you've got a ton of torque and power for bagging. And it's very, it takes a few minutes, to convert seasonally, but you can see it's not a ton of work if you want to use this bagging system for cleanups intermittently throughout the year. So that's a summary of the system. If you got any questions, throw them in comments and let us know, or go on our website and ask us in the chat there, and we'd be glad to help you out or answer any questions we can. Hope you have a great spring.